chromosomes are insufficient. Because when we wake up in the morning, we exaggerate whatever feature we want to portray the gender of our choice. Suppose no matter my chromosomes, today I feel 80% female, 20% male. I'm gonna put on makeup. I'm gonna do that. Tomorrow I might feel 80% male. I'll remove the makeup and I'll wear a muscle shirt. Why do you care?
Yeah.
What business is it of yours to require that I fulfill your inability to think of gender on a spectrum?
Yeah, sometimes I don't even know what to say, but welcome back to the channel, ladies and gentlemen. It's nice to see you all again. I hope you've had a great start to your week. In this episode, we're going to be reacting to Neil Degrasse Tyson, a worldwide known scientist and astrophysicist. He's somebody who has the job of observing the reality we all live in today, yet somehow, some way, he has a justification, or thinks there's a justification, for men competing against women in sports and all the other stuff he was rambling on about in the intro of this video. I showed you. I don't know what reality he's been observing all of these years, but I think it's certainly not ours. Now, he was recently in a debate with Triggernometry that is going viral right now, and they talk about a myriad of issues. And throughout the debate, from what it seems like anyway, with the issues they speak about, Neil Degrasse Tyson just gets really flustered and starts to shout a lot, which at this point I don't really expect anything else. I actually think the guys over at Triggernometry with this debate really just showed everybody that their patience levels are at, well, the highest level, and you see what I mean throughout this video that you're going to be watching. But before we do get into this, if you could, make sure to leave a like rating, as it really helps out the video. If you're new, hit that subscribe button and turn on bell notifications so you never miss a video. Share this video, but nonetheless, ladies and gentlemen, sit back, try to relax, and let's get into this.
My only point was that if who you decide is male and female in the street is a construct of style and trends and what the beauty industrial complex wants you to see.
See, already just 20 seconds in with this video, I can sense all the rambling going on. You know, nobody decides what gender somebody is. We can keep moving the goalposts to try and justify certain situations, but it doesn't serve anybody.
If that's how we establish gender, then maybe some people want to be fluid within that gender identify. So they'll wear a skirt, but maybe have a beard, or they'll mix and match that in whatever way
Neil,
you want.
Sorry.
Hold on. I'm not. Wait. I'm almost done. So,
Okay.
if a person using the tools of the beauty industrial complex wants to mix and match this,
Yeah.
and they are expressing their freedom in a free country to do so, why is your job to tell them not to?
Nobody tells really anybody not to. The issue comes is when an individual, male or female, decides to express a different gender, they then affect the gender they're trying to express. You know, you get men coming into women's safe spaces, making them feeling uncomfortable. You get them coming in to their sports, again, taking places or awards away from them. How somebody feels and their individual truth, and everybody having to conform with that worldview, actually affects a large majority.
That's my only point. And so I'm speaking of gender expression and the freedom to do so. And if you want to restrict that, then what country we living in? Yeah, go ahead.
So first of all, I don't know a single person, and we've talked to trans people on the show. We have trans employees at Triggernometry. We've spoken to all sorts of people about this issue. I do not know a single person who wants to prevent people from dressing how they want, or behaving how they want, or choosing any name that they want. However, what I would say is that the conversation in the public consciousness has become prominent not between people who want to defend the right of anyone to dress how they want and the people who want to prevent that. The reason the conversation has become an issue is that we assign and allow certain privileges to people based on their sex. If you are female, you get to go to places that only other females are in, like changing rooms and toilets and so on. If you are female, you get to compete only with people of your sex because females are at a disadvantage in physical competition to males in almost every sport. In other words, we carve out certain areas where your matters tremendously, even though we may respect your right everywhere else to believe that you are whatever you are, to dress however you are, etc. So your claim that today you woke up and put lipstick on and grew your hair out long and tweezed out your mustache and whatever, and therefore you are female, has an impact on other people in certain contexts in which that is a problem.
You gave only 2 contexts. Do you have others?
Sorry, I wasn't finished. And in those contexts, it is essential, people would argue, to protect women from unfair competition and from various risks for which female-only spaces already exist. That's why people are having this conversation. Okay. It's not out of bigotry.
Do you have more than those 2 examples? And I'll address each of those in turn. But do you have more than those 2? Probably not. Okay. So let me address those 2 examples directly. I'll address them.
Sports is very important.
You said that.
Female-only spaces.
I remembered. So,
I'm not gonna lie, he does come across as such a rude man. It seems like anybody who disagrees with his worldview and what he wants to talk about and, interrupts him, he doesn't want to hear from them. Oh, no, it's all about me and what I want to say. It's not how you really have a debate, in my opinion, which is why I said these 2 right here show their patience levels, because a lot of people wouldn't be happy with how he's acting. I'm certainly seeing that, and I'm like, do you have any manners yourself?
You don't seem to have a third example, and even if you do, we presume that would be a very distant third compared to those 2 cases. All right.
No, there's a third
but
one.
Those 2 cases are very important.
Go.
Those 2 cases are very important and the biggest issues and affecting a lot of people. To say, oh, do you have a third case, kind of diminishes them, if I'm going to be honest.
For politics, we have female-only shortlists for positions in Parliament. Therefore,
I didn't know about that. That's
that,
interesting. Okay.
Well, that's another example. Therefore, when you make a claim that you are female, you are attempting, whether intentionally or not, to insert yourself into categories that are deliberately designed to protect women's interests. Exactly. That is the concern that people have. So there's 4 examples for you there. Please address them.
Sure. So interesting about the Parliament. I have to look into that to find out what is it try to ensure the representation of women? Is that the goal?
That's correct.
Yes,
yeah, okay,
correct.
fine. So it's a perfectly noble cause there. So about personal changing spaces, okay? That's a solvable problem, of course. And we basically have accomplished that here in Manhattan, where I live. Practically all bathrooms are either multi-gender or solo bathrooms, so only one person at a time, or you walk into a space and there's stalls that are closed off, but then you exit the stall and you come to a communal sink.
It's not a solution. It's really not a solution, in my opinion, because at the end of the day, those women still have to potentially walk past men coming into their safe space. There is a solution. Just keep men out. It's a simple one. Very simple one.
By the way, let me give an example. We have a school from the early 20th century in New York, and I just saw it the other day. There's an entrance here and an entrance there, and this entrance says girls, and this entrance says boys. It's like, what the fuck? What? You separate them just to enter the school? I can look back on that and say that was ridiculous. You guys, what were you thinking?
Has he just really compared, and I might be wrong here, but has he really just compared an entrance to a school to women's safe spaces and toilets? This is an astrophysicist. I might apply to be an astrophysicist because it seems like I've got more common sense at this rate.
But back then, I'm sure it made complete sense that you're going to send the girls through that entrance, and there's an elementary school, and the boys through that entrance, okay? So it is possible to look back on whatever you were doing and say, my gosh, that was really short-sighted, and look at the solution that was proposed and implemented. That was a good idea. We moved on from that. Second, with sports, very interesting.
There we go.
There was a case where a woman wanted to be they wanted to disqualify her from an event. And she had very big muscles, and she had naturally high testosterone levels, okay? And she was genetically female, but unusually high testosterone levels, and so that weirded everybody out. So I'm wondering whether the future of those sports is you don't contest gender with gender, you contest hormone ratios.
Well, hold on a second.
What
But
do
the
you think of that?
the differences physiologically between men and women are not just hormonal. Women have a different hip angle. They have different heart capacity. They have different lung capacity. I mean, there are profound physiological differences, different bone density. We've had professional athletes on.
And that example Neil deGrasse Tyson apparently listed is one in how many? You don't really hear of that too often. The main issue is men who competed in their sports beforehand perhaps didn't do too well. They see the opportunity to go across into the female side of things and end up winning. I'm sure there'll be a justification for that in this video because it seems like he does move the goalposts and tries to justify every single thing, even when it doesn't make any sense. Sometimes the simplest solutions are the best. If you are born a male, you compete against other men. If you're born a woman, you compete against other women.
I don't have a problem with that. So then you find ways to slice the population so that whatever the event is interestingly contested. So, for example, I wrestled in my life. I was captain of my high school wrestling team. It would be unfair for me at 190 pounds, which is what I was back then, to wrestle someone 120 pounds.
Hold on, it would actually be unfair for you to wrestle someone who's also 190 pounds but female.
Let me work my way there. Let me just work my way there, because
fine.
You are. I respect how active your brain is, but I've thought about all this, and just allow me to speak it at the rate that I.
It's all about me, what I think. I've thought about all of this, and the way I've thought about it means you are all in the wrong.
So, it would be unfair. So they have in wrestling. They said, let's make weight categories. Okay. So we make weight categories. So I don't wrestle the 120. I wrestle a 190 pounder. So a wrestling match is not just this one person against the other person. It's 10 matches. And each one is intensely interesting because they are matched. Okay? So what the trans conversation is foisting upon us is the need to find ways to slice the athletic universe such that we still have interesting, fair matches. And is it a combination of, did you go through puberty as a male and then transition? Did you have puberty blockers? What is your hormone level now if you want to compete? So it requires more creative thought. Rather than saying no to it all, let's be creative about this as we were with wrestling.
Yes, let's be very creative with this issue. Let's be creative so much so that women will still be at a disadvantage and will still lose their places and awards away from people who were born male. Let's get creative with it, guys. Come on. It does sound very appealing, and I'm sure every female athlete, when they hear somebody say, let's get creative with it, it's filled with so much joy. You know, they train every day, dedicate their lives to a sport. Yet and still, we have people debating whether men should be in their sport or not. You train all your life, you dedicate yourself, and sometimes that's thrown all out the window because somebody decides to come into your sport when they shouldn't be there in the very first place.
As we are with practically any other sport. In rowing, there's a heavyweight rowing and there's lightweight rowing. They don't compete against each other. Somebody came up with that to resolve the problem because more than one category of person wanted to compete. So I agree with you, it's an unsolved problem, yes, but it's not unsolvable given what we know about human physiology. So why not rise to that occasion and solve it rather than take your older view of the world and force modern emergent conduct of people to fit that.
The older view of the world. The older view of the world sometimes is based on reality and truth, which is why people look back on it. The world is built on the older ways of the world, and a lot of the time it is factual. As we head further into this new world, it seems like we want to get rid of the facts. Get rid of everything we built this world on. Get rid of reality and get creative with it. Distort reality. Isn't that what Neil deGrasse Tyson is asking for? Maybe he's just so bored with the reality he's been observing, he just wants to completely ruin it. Who knows?
Okay, well, can we just come back to the female shortlist and other opportunities that women are afforded by virtue of being women? And them now being excluded from that because males are entering that competition.
Yeah, so a deeper problem, thank you for bringing that up. A deeper problem there is, why were women underrepresented to begin with? What kind of bias exists within Parliament or among the voters maybe even the female voters, that prevented the representation from being there in the first place? That's a whole other social question that maybe can and should be answered at a deeper level.
But he's completely avoided the question. He's avoided what they asked him about, and he's gone on to some different tangent. Let's look at it at a deeper level.
Than a quota coming in after the fact.
Oh, I'm not a fan of quotas, but if they exist...
That's how I would address that question.
Hold on a second. That's not addressing the question at all. The question
Exactly.
is, female shortlist exists. Should biological males be allowed to enter those female shortlists? That's as simple as the question is.
Yeah, I'm saying I would ask why you have the short list in the first place. It's because there's something deeper that's wrong with society, that women are underrepresented in governance. So to say now, to protect that now and not try to get to the root of that problem, I think is the cart in front of the horse. So I would go deeper to that problem. So
but
you don't even
there are
have to have
women
that question.
whose opportunities are being curtailed today because they are being forced to compete, whether in sports or elsewhere, against people who have some kind of advantage over them.
We're in a transitional period, so we have to figure that out. But the way to figure out things that require solutions to progressive change is not to regress it to how things once were. If that were the case, I would still be drinking from a segregated water fountain, okay? Oh, let's merge the water fountains and let's create the opportunities from below so that we don't even need the short list.
The example he listed there has got nothing to do with what they're talking about. Nothing at all. We're talking about women's safe spaces, their sports, and by extension as well, men's safe spaces and their sports. Yet every time there's a question posed to him, he goes on this tangent and they get further away from the question that they asked.
That's how I would approach this. So yeah, we're in the middle of solving that problem now. Let's figure it out together.
I think a lot of people would have an issue with what you're saying, Neil, is because they see women being denied opportunities. They see an unfair playing field, metaphorically and literally speaking.
So fix the playing field, damn it. What? Don't say it's an unfair playing field, so all of a sudden the big issue is trans women taking the slot of a woman in an unfair playing field. Fix the playing field. And you know something? The day you fix that playing field, this conversation will look completely ridiculous.
No. You know, listening to this guy was actually quite a bore, I'm not going to lie. But to fix the playing field is to keep it simple. Men compete against men, women compete against women. And he's right. In a few years' time, we will look back at this and think, wow, this was ridiculous. Because I can guarantee you in many years to come, people will revert back to the norm. They'll look back and think, why did we allow women to have their safe spaces compromised? Why did we allow women to have awards places taken away from them? That's what we'll look back on. That's what we'll look back on. He offered no solution from what I saw. He just rambled on and moved the goalposts, as I've kept on repeating every time a question was asked. This is a scientist, an astrophysicist, yet he can't even stick to the truth. I'm sure there's plenty of scientists looking at this and thinking, what is this guy on? What planet is this guy on? Because clearly he's left ours. But leave your thoughts down below on this debate here. Ladies and gentlemen, what are your thoughts on Neil deGrasse Tyson's views on this issue? I'm starting to think these two here really just let him speak, and they allowed him to speak, and he really showed how he feels and the madness that is going on. But if you have enjoyed, make sure to leave a like rating. If you're new, hit that subscribe button and turn on bell notifications so you never miss a video. Share this video. But until next time, it has been your boy JD. Have a great day, stay safe, and I'm out. Peace.